So the Chinaya Wumake going on Stephen A. Smith's show today was very interesting. It was very, very, very interesting because, first of all, I don't despise Chinaya Wumake. I think she's old WNBA. I think her goal is to protect the Alyssa Thomases of the world rather than like the new players, because there is a big thing. And she basically said the quiet part out loud on this like stream or clip or whatever it was. But basically, Stephen A. Smith is asking Chennedy questions, and Chennedy decided to not answer a single question, just start speaking almost in riddles. And yeah, it was a weird one. It was a really, really weird one. Because at the end of the day, like, she basically justified players going after, like, Caitlin, because apparently players went after Skylar Diggins as a rookie. Yeah, apparently people went after Skylar Diggins as a rookie, therefore people that should be allowed go after Caitlin. And I think there was a lot of discourse about it, and like about Skylar Diggins as a rookie as well. If I remember, because I watched a bit of that season, I remember there was a little bit of this discourse about they're targeting Skylar Diggins as well. But obviously a lot less people were watching. At the same time, Den basically said Caitlin needs to bulk up to deal with the cheap shots. Refused. She was asked, was the Alyssa Thomas cheap shot intentional? And she basically goes, in real time, it was hard to see in real time. And she was like, oh, well, any contact here is serious. It's like, she just refused to answer that question. And there's one statement that she made that I think is on the money. And it's the reason why, whether it's Chennedy, whether it's Cheryl Miller, is different. Why? Because Cheryl Miller never played in the WNBA. She basically went out and said, the WNBA is a sisterhood, and, we stick together for things bigger than basketball. And she was like, oh, we weren't making very much money, so, like, we played for other reasons. Basically, she said basketball was not the reason they played in the WNBA. They played, like, all the social justice things they did. And, like, again, I was not that focused on what the work the WNBA did. They probably did some great work. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to diminish that. But, like, she essentially said that, because we formed as a totality of a league, we all stuck together to push for these other issues. And it's very, very clear with the Indiana Fever that they've said it themselves, the league hates them. Like, she basically came out and said, the WNBA is just one big sisterhood. We're supposed to, look out for each other. And that is the reason why you won't see a Chennedy ever call out Alyssa Thomas. That's why you see a Sydney Colson who will only defend the Fever while she's a member of the Fever. That's why you'll never see a Swin Cash, the Yukon Mafia. We call them the Yukon Mafia. All of these players, like, you will never see them go out ever and defend Caitlin Clark. Maybe Sabrina might. Why? Because they hated Sabrina too. And that's the thing where it's like, when players just want to come in and hoop, and it's a lot of these young players, by the way, like, you better believe, like, this doesn't, if, for example, this Caitlin Clark thing was, I don't know, I'm just trying to think hypothetically, someone else they don't like in the media. Or fuck it, if it's a young player, if that was Layla Lacan, they wouldn't be going out to defend Layla Lacan like Alyssa Thomas. Alyssa Thomas is part of the quote-unquote sisterhood, and the problem is she basically confirmed what we've all said for years. The WNBA is a club that Caitlin Clark and the Fever are not a part of. And Caitlin Clark and the Fever are not the only teams that are not a part of it. If you look at young players in this league, Angel Reese seems to try to do whatever the hell she can to become a part of that club. She's not. Cam Brink, she's not. Kelsey Plum, she's not. Sabrina Ionescu, she's not. All these overseas players, they're not, that are just coming over recently, they're not a part of the club. They just want to play ball. And that is a positive thing to look at it, in that in 5 or 6 years, it's going to be a serious basketball league. But Chennedy has basically just said, she just basically said what everyone has said. This is a club, not a serious basketball league. And she tried to do that in the defense of Alyssa Thomas. And to be fair, she just didn't want to answer a single question. She refused to answer a single question and brought up anecdotes. And by the end of her anecdotes, it like got so far off the point that it didn't answer anything. Like, she went more off topic than I sometimes do in videos when she was talking about Stephen A. Smith. I'm not answering a bunch of questions. I'm just giving my opinion and spitballing into a fucking microphone. But she very clearly did not want to say a negative word about Alyssa Thomas. Why? Because Alyssa Thomas, is part of the sisterhood. But when it's time to criticize Caitlin Clark, she'll have no issue with that, rightfully or wrongfully. And again, let's not forget, today, Caitlin Clark essentially called out Chennedy and Sid Colson by name. Chennedy was the host of it on ESPN. Sid Colson was the one who basically said Caitlin didn't get fouled, needs to toughen up. She called out the ESPN broadcast on Sunday, which was, I know Chennedy and Sid Colson were on it, 2 others where I can't remember. But she essentially called them out by name for talking about that instead of the actual game that was going on at that time. So I gotta be real here. This was something that I'm like, I'm like kind of shocked about, because I did not believe that Chennedy was going to come out with something like this, because first of all, I cannot stress this enough. I don't think Chennedy Owumike is a bad person. I don't think she's a bad person by any means. I don't think she dislikes Caitlin. I don't think she's trying to target Caitlin. I don't think any of that. But we saw it last year with the dolphin noise, the dolphin gate, where Chennedy talked about it like it was fact. Why? Because, hilariously, Angel Reese never said it happened. It was Alyssa Thomas that said it happened. She wasn't even there. Her wife was there. Said nothing happened. Said these are the best fans in the world after the game. And then somehow her wife, 48 hours later, said that they were, making racist noises towards Angel Reese. Like, it is what it is. And it is, it's just the thing where Chennedy, she's part of the club. She's part of the club. And unfortunately for Caitlin Clark, she's not part of the club. And the entire Fever team, I think the Fever as a whole are the only team that are just not part of the club at all. I think there are individuals on a lot of teams. Like, I'm not saying that fucking Pauline for lack of a better word, the mercenaries, which I'll call them. As in, they'll play wherever the hell pays them. Your Pauline Astiers, I know she's not in the league, Emma Messimans, your Leo Phoebish, your all these overseas players, or even for a lesser extent, the players that just go and hoop and don't care about anything else, your Jess Shepherds of the world. It's not about where you went to college. It is about, the WNBA was a big clique. And she essentially said it. She confirmed what we've all been saying for years. The WNBA was a big clique. And if you were on the outside of that clique, it was very obvious. You saw it in player voting. Kelsey Plum has never been voted as a top 8 guard for All-Star voting by players, even though Kelsey Plum has had seasons where she scored 20 on nearly 50, 40, 90 for the best team in the league. Caitlin Clark, or Sabrina Ionescu, up until last year, had never been voted top 10 for guards. Jackie Young was voted 1 in 2023 and hasn't been top 12 since. So, yeah, and that's the thing. Jackie Young, even though she's on the Aces, if you're asking me, who's part of the, the club on the Aces, it's fucking Chelsea Gray. It's the point guard, it's the point guard, it's the point guard. Like, it's all just about narratives. And again, I think Chenedy's right. What we've all been saying for years, this is a big club, and that player in the middle is not a part of it. It is what it is.